Alright, in this video, we are going to have a practical topic that is how to set up a Db2 auto start on system reboot. So this is basically a real world example. If you're managing any database system, regardless Oracle, SQL Server, Db2, SQL or like NoSQL database and so on and so forth. We need to set the database system to be able to auto start on system reboot. For example, if you have like production system or lots of system and you need to set it up after the weekend maintenance, the database system needed to be started on its own, not like we need to manually bring them up. Okay, so each RDBMS vendor provided a way for doing this. Like for Oracle, traditionally they use DB start, DB shut, those kind of script. But you need to set it up. For SQL Server, it's relatively simple. Regardless on the Windows or Linux, they will use like either on the Linux they use sysd, on the Windows they use like the service. Okay. For Db2, it's also unique. Db2 use a term called fault monitor. Okay, so basically this fault monitor is going to monitor your system and start it up as needed. Okay, so today we are going to do from scratch. Okay, the environment, the example system. Today we're going to use a server name called U20. This is Ubuntu 2004 LTS. So the reason I'm choosing Ubuntu because Ubuntu is pretty popular in the Linux user community. And also in the previous window, I mainly focus on the Red Hat, Linux, and CentOS. So I just want to show also from the Db2 perspective, really there's no difference of which Linux you're going to use, okay? So let's get started. Let me open a command window. So I'm going to use a PowerShell window because I like a color instead that the DOS window. You can custom my DOS with the same color, but I just use this just a terminal window. So from this window, I'm going to initiate the SS shell to the remote server. Once again, I'm not going to use the root. Okay. So this is the host name. So we're going to enter the password. So we are in the system. Okay. All right, let's check our system. etc, I think it's the release. Yeah. So this is Ubuntu 2004 LTS. Okay. All right, so this is our system. Let's get started. So the first step, I'm going to install the Db2. Okay. So I'm going to see steps we're going to do install Db2. Before we install Db2, let's see. Let's check we don't have any Db2 installed, and also let's also check the etc directory. I also want to check the etc directory, make sure there's no let's see if anything with db2. Okay, so we don't have a file with db2, and the reason I'm doing this because I would like to compare the system before the install and after install. So I'm gonna run this command and also run this command after the install. Okay, so let's get started with the installation. So I already have the install image staged in the home directory of the root. So I'm gonna tar this file. I have a couple of videos talking about the install. So I'm gonna, that is on the CentOS Linux and the Red Hat Linux, so I'm gonna do on the Ubuntu. You will see it's gonna be no difference, okay? So once this image being untarred into this location, server DC, okay? So the version it is 11.5.6, that is most recent, the db2, this you can download, okay? All right, it's installed. Let's go into the directory and let's do a db2 prerequisite check. So I'm going to use -l -ai latest and no pure scale. So the system is already not a patch, already installed required packages. Okay, so I can go ahead to do the install. So the install I'm going to use is the db2 install this utility. So I'm going to use a couple of flags to, I'm going to first see, I don't want to install pacemaker, okay? Also, I don't want to install the tsam, just for simplicity. And besides, also the tsam is not supported on the Ubuntu Linux, okay? So we can only do like some relative simple install. Then I'm going to use the product as I'm going to use server, and I think that should be close enough. Let's see what is it complain about. Dot -1 server. See, let me do not deinstall. It's a mistake. Okay. History. Well, fortunately, it's the db2 install, not the deinstall. Okay. db2 install, no pacemaker. No pacemaker. I don't want to install the tsam. No tsam. I'm gonna install the server version, then accept the license terms. Okay. Now you see the things you're gonna install the default location. Okay. This is the default location. So I can say yes. Okay. I mean, typically the default location is fine unless the standard in the organization are different. So, but usually we can take the default. So in this way, it can be easily identified. For any new install. All right. So I will let this install continue to run. Okay. So let's go to the next step. Once the install of complete, I'm gonna do a create an instance. So the instance, so install db2. First we create a user. Okay, the user is going to hold the this is for the db2. It's already finished. So the second, so we're gonna create a user. Okay, because we are on the root, so we're gonna. I'm not going to review the log because it's accessible. Okay, so the command is going to be user add -m. The user will just use the standard db2 inst1. Okay, similarly like other they have the standard way like Oracle. The default user is Oracle. SQL Server, the default user is MS SQL. Okay. All right, created the user. Now we're going to create the instance. Okay, the instance is going to be in the, I think as the instance, right? It's going to be db2 icrt create. Then -u, this is the fence user, so we're going to just use the owners, the same fence user. So then let it run. Okay, I'm going to create this instance. So create an instance and create a user, then create instance. So once the instance create, and I'm gonna do two things as I mentioned earlier. The first thing I would like to see these things. Okay, this one ps -ef. Okay, so you see after the server install, so the IBM like enabled this daemon. So this is by default install. After installation, this daemon is started up. Okay, or service. This daemon name is called db2 fmcd. F means fault, M is monitor, C it is coordinator. So this one it's the fault monitor coordinator daemon. So if you use the system CTL, you will see, okay, system CTL status and db2, okay, service. Okay, so you see from this, you know, this is called the db2 fcmd service, and this service is enabled. This is important. That means this daemon or service is enabled by default once you install the service. Okay, once you install it. So what we learned here is here. Okay, db2cmd it is enabled. That is very important. This is the daemon or service IBM is going to use to start the db2 instance. Okay, it's enabled by default. Okay, so the one I'm illustrated here to let people to understand in a deeper why, what, how this kind of thing. It is not clear documented in the IBM document. I want to review this, and so it's for the like for people have some real time experience also benefits the troubleshoot. The second thing, as I said, I'm gonna find the command I run. So you see, I did find one command. It's called the db2cmd service. This is the file used for the to start this fault monitor daemon. Okay, or service. We can use this interchangeably. Okay, so let's take a look at the this file. Okay, the etc system D system. So this is the file. So it's very simple. The description, that is the service needed to be started, okay? And the very simple file is for the Db2 fault monitor or fault monitor coordinator, okay? So we learned this is disabled. So we have these files are created by the Db2 installer. So if you have a system, let's see. So let's see. So in this example, we know after the Db2 install, right, you have the fault monitor daemons running, okay? If you run header with the clustering, because clustering is going to managing all the services, in that case, it is recommended this one to be disabled, okay? So you should disable this if you run a header with Db2 clustering at Haku. One of the video I previously recorded, it's the set up the use the Db2 Haku utility to set up the clustering. Okay, so this video will be mainly talking about like the standalone. So now we have create user, create the instance. So the next step is going to start up the instance. Start up the instance. Okay. So let's sudo to the instance owner. Okay, I'm going to sudo to the Db2 instance owner. So I'm going to run a Db2 start. Okay. Okay, Db2 started. So started the instance. So let's do a ps-ef grab Db2. Okay. So from this command, you see the daemon process, or fault monitor daemon process is owned by root. Each system we only have one daemon running, okay, fault monitor daemon. The one with the Db2 is one ownership, this is going to be the database engine, you see. The main engine process Db2cc control, okay, system control, and the few others, okay. You can see oh, I see the problem, but anyway. I should have defined a shell, okay, but I'll fix this later. ps-ef for grab db2 install. Okay. Okay, you see, this is the process. Let me exit session, okay. So basically what happened is when I created a user, I should have specified the shell of this user. This is something different, a little bit different, the user creation for Ubuntu Unix and Red Hat Unix, okay. I'm gonna default this user use the B shell instead of the bound shell, okay. All right, so let's go back to this instance owner. All right, so let's see, ps-ef grab db2. So we further can filter only the one by the instance owner, okay? So we see db2 this user, okay? So now let's do experiment. See if although we see we have this instance, the fault monitor running, but this is only one thing. In order to the DB2 auto start on reboot, you have to do something else. Before we do that, let's do a test. Okay, so we're gonna do a test. Test auto start to test that. So I'm gonna reboot my system. Reboot. Okay. All right, the system is rebooting. So if auto start was set correctly, when the system come back, we will see those process is up, like DB2 on system C is gonna do, okay? But because we haven't enabled another setting, so the system will not restart. It's our responsibility to enable it if you need the system, if you need the DB2 auto start to be effective. Okay, so let's see if I can go back to system now. It's not ready yet. It's still rebooting. Let me pause the video for a minute and return. All right, the system back. Let me log on to the system. Okay, so I'm in. Let's do a PS, see if this database is up, okay? You see the database, the DB2 instance is not up. So the IBMs, in order to do that, you have to run a command to enable it. So to run that command, you need to go to the becomes the instance owner. Once you become the instance owner, you're going to run a command called iauto. Okay, db2 iauto. Before I run this command, I will do a db2 set command to see. So by default, there's two parameters set. This one is global. They just see what's your system name, the host name. So this one, it is by default, the db2 communicated. You communicate with db2 using the TCP IP, okay? So now I'm going to run the iauto now, okay? I'm going to do this iauto, followed by this syntax. If it's -on, that means enabled. If it's off, it's disabled. So I'm going to use turn on, use db2 iauto -on, then followed by db2 ins1 and then return. Okay. Now we check the db2 set. What do you see? You see this iauto add a parameter, the db2 set registry. This parameter db2 auto start to yes. Okay, that is important. Okay, so if I do a let's see, if I do this command, okay, off. If I turn this command, you do this again, so this parameter is gone. So that means we're gonna use this on to turn it off. When this is turned on, so this setting is going to work together with the DB2 fault monitor. So they two work together to enable the DB2 auto setup. Okay, so there's two things, right? One thing it is the fault monitor must run. Okay, the second thing you have to enable this DB2 set parameters using this utility. Okay, so the test. So this test says no auto start. Okay. So now what we just did is we're gonna run the db2 iauto -on. Then instance owner, okay? Instance name. So once this is turned on, let's take a look at the command. See, let's start it up, okay? So I'm gonna start the Db2 now. Okay, Db2 started. So I'm gonna grab these processes. You see, right now the instance running. So let's do the same experiment, okay? Because we know right now this parameter is on. We can review it from this command, okay? So the question is clear. How do I know my system is auto start on system reboot enabled? Two things. You have this process running, okay? Also, you have these parameters enabled, okay? So let's do a test quick, okay? I'm gonna exit and do a reboot, do a test, okay? All right, so I will let just the system reboot. So let's finish this document. So we need use iauto to enable it. So one note I have to see here. So this method is valid valid for Linux with sysd, okay, system D, okay. That means basically the version we are talking about it is Red Hat 7, 8, like CentOS 7, 8, the Red Hat family, and also like Linux, Oracle Linux, Oracle Linux, Enterprise Linux, okay? Oracle Linux, 7, maybe 8. Then the Ubuntu 2004. I mean, I'm not sure the 16, so, but at least the one, it is more like some newer version. Also like SUSE or SUSE, maybe 12, something, okay. But anyway, the system with the Linux with this will for this method, okay? So if you use older system, it's not valid. You have to use the another method, not the system D. You're gonna use the init tab, okay? For older system, you have to do this through the etc init tab. At least it's on the Red Hat system, okay? All right, let's see if the system come back. Okay, it's come back. All right, let's check. PS minus EF, grab. Okay, so now it's good. The after rebooted the system, the Db2 restarted, auto restarted. Okay, so let's do a summary. So in order to accomplish the Db2 auto start on system reboot, okay. So you see here, I use the word system reboot. It can be like you have like system suddenly crashed and come back, these kind of things, whatever, and the system restart, you shut down and then start it up. They all belong to this category. So the Db2 auto start. So in order to accomplish this, you need two things, okay? So the conclusion is make sure this MFC monitor coordinate is running. Okay, that means the service is running. Okay, the command you check is use the system. I think it's use this command, system CTL status, and followed by the name. Okay, Db2 FMCD. Okay, and make sure you will see it's up, and also you will see the keywords it's enabled. Okay, if not, if you don't see the keyword enabled, that means the daemon itself on reboot will not come up. Okay, let's take a look. So it's going to be system ETL status db2 fmcd. Okay, this service can be keyword can be omitted. Okay, so that this is enabled. So for the let's do a PS again. Okay, so when it's enabled, you will see this is you will see this process. Even it's disabled, you can still see this process. Okay, so the most important thing, you make sure this is enabled and also this is running active. Okay, let's see if I want to disable this, you can run system CTL. Okay, you can disable it. This disable means you disable it will not automatically running on the system reboot. Disable. Okay, so it's disabled, right? So if you run this command, it is still running there. And also if you use the system CTL status, you can see it is active. Okay. However, the service is disabled. That means they will not automatically start this service. Okay, so let's re-enable it. Okay, I'm gonna enable it. So that was I said. You make sure the db2 fmcd is enabled. Okay. The second thing is, as an instance owner, you need to make sure, let's see if I suited to this one. You need to make sure this one, the db2 auto is set to yes. This is these two things. Okay. If you search the internet, you will find the IBM document, but that document is pretty long and also it's not very clear. Okay, so in this demo, I was trying to give as clear as possible, and also I also pointed out some key files, used by this process. One is this the service file, also about the db2 set, these two things. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here. So next video I probably gonna do this a similar thing, but that is gonna be the IBM db2 unique. So that is let me just do one thing, okay, before I exit. So in the RDBMS world. So there's another thing. It is related to the auto start. So let me show you what that means. So for example, we have this database engine is running. If we terminate this engine process, not manually, for example, in the real time, if something wrong with the memory or CPU or the system or any other reason, so this engine process is being terminated. So here we just use Q to simulate this, okay? So if I simulate this, let's take a look. So I'm gonna see what happens. So if this engine process was being terminated for whatever reason, the Db2 will not start it up itself, okay? Once again, so similar in Oracle and the SQL Server, if the main engine process was terminated, they will not start it up itself, okay? Same for the Db2. However, one thing is unique in the Db2 world, because Db2 have a fault monitor. The fault monitor can start it up the Db2 as well in this case. In case the Db2 exit prematurely or unexpectedly, and the fault monitor has the capability to bring it up. However, you don't, of course, you need to set it up, So I will prepare another video to talk about how you set it up a Db2 auto start on not the system reboot. I'm talking about the crash. If your process is crashed for whatever reason, and the fault monitor can start it up as long as you can have set it up that way. So I'm going to give another video to do this. Okay. All right. That's all.